And our theme of this week is how to be your own hero, how to be the hero in your own life.
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves.
Welcome to the C Note Show, guys, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. It is Monday at 11:01 Mountain Time here on June 22nd, 2020. And our theme of this week is how to be your own hero, how to be the hero in your own life, and how to be the man of her dreams. This is where we do our daily work as a man. This is where we do our daily work to be grounded in the three forms of confidence, the behavioral, emotional, and spiritual confidence. How do I move forward in the world? How do I know when I'm fucking up, and how do I correct it? And maybe you're separated right now. Maybe she said she loves you but not in love with you. Maybe you're separated in the same house, or you're living in different places, or maybe shit hit the fan yesterday and you heard about this from another man, and this man says, you got to come in here and learn about how to do your daily work as a man and be in our tribe. I really want this, and my goal for this, guys, is in a generation from now that women want every man, and every man wants their brother to be in a tribe like this. You know, I didn't have this when we were growing up. My father certainly didn't teach me these things. And so we're happy to bring this to you on a daily basis. This is where we do our daily work. And the only woman allowed in this show is Miss Cynthia Cruz, my partner in crime and fiance. We're both professional coaches. And Cynthia gives us the feminine perspective and feminine feedback. So thank you for being here again, Cynthia.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. Thank you for being here on a Monday morning. I know we just had a weekend where it was Father's Day's weekend. If you're a dad, I want to say that it is a supreme honor to get to sit here with you all. So thank you for inviting me into this space. And, you know, Jeff, if you guys decide to wear the tinfoil hats, if that becomes part of the MO, you know, I'm totally down with that. So
yeah, we had another man before the show, one of our new regulars, say that his wife thinks this is a cult. And I said, tell her, yeah, man, we wear tinfoil hats and we walk backwards and speak in tongues and all that stuff. Just agree and amplify. That's one of the ways to handle those confidence tests, is just to agree and then make a joke about it. So yeah. And Cynthia's here to keep us honest. I'm not wearing my tinfoil hat right now. I'll put that on later. That's for later in the show. So our theme of this week is how to be your own hero. And we're going to focus on what does it mean to have a spiritual focus in life, not necessarily religious, but a belief that you can source yourself from the inside, that you don't need anything from the outside to fill you up on a daily basis, that you want those things, that you want love and affection and a phenomenal relationship. And here we teach you how to get those things, but you don't throw a tantrum like a little boy if you don't have that, because you're a man who sources himself spiritually from the inside, right? And also legacy. How do you want to show up as a man for your own self, for your family, for her, for your children, and for everyone around you, right? Today, we're going to talk about the 7 pieces of a woman's pie in relationship. We started developing that last week, and we'll unveil the next piece of a woman's pie today, what she wants to feel within relationship. We're going to talk about what to do when you feel attacked. And we love this. We pulled this picture of the lion and the quote, no matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. And I would add that both are important, right? And never let one overpower the other, really. As a man, we want to be grounded in both intellect and emotion, right? A woman wants us to be able to handle our shit and then lead forward into either deeper love with her or into our adventure into the world. We're going to talk more about that today also. So here we start with some comedy and then we dive into the shit. First though, before we get into the comedy and diving into the shit, and then we bounce up out of the pool with perspective and a plan and tools today, which we're definitely going to show you. We show every single day on the C Note Show. I also have a man who hit me up before the show who wants to highlight an issue that he's got going on. He wants to bounce it off the men. And that's what we do here as well. You guys talk with each other in the chat, in our private Facebook forum, our free private Facebook forum. So I'm going to start with a post from the forum. This gentleman wants to share it for encouragement and his story. 1 year ago today, I was given papers. I was told marrying me was the biggest mistake she ever made. She threw her ring at me, and it cut me so deep. I remember crying so bad most days because I knew it was over. I remember a song would come on the radio or driving by somewhere that made me think of a memory of us, and I'd start to get very sad. I had read so many pickup artist books. I watched every video on YouTube at work, so that's funny. He's watching YouTube at work. And read books on women. I was obsessed with learning how to reattract my wife, even though it never really fully worked. I remember the day accepting the fact in mid-August 2019 that our marriage was over. If I could only control working on myself. I remember asking her for a date a couple times, and she told me, not a chance, We can be friends for the kid's sake, but that's it. And went on to say, you deserve to be with someone who loves you and actually likes you. She said, when I touched her, it made her anxious, sick, and felt nothing positive. So please don't touch her. Oh my gosh. That's where the man started. That's where Maria started. I'm going to jump down here to now. He's dating his wife, and he says, last week during a dinner, I asked her from a place of value, what's it going to take to get my ring back on her finger? To my surprise, she said, when you ask me. I almost fell out of my chair in the restaurant. So in between there, he talks about his men's work, and I'll share some more of this later in the show today if we have time today, about how he had a paradigm shift in his mindset. And the biggest thing is taking responsibility for myself and actions. We'll talk more about that. But this man is talking about, she tests me and I could just smile. And now he's owning his own self. He's owning his responses. He's owning his behaviors. And taking full responsibility for ourselves, guys, is that first step. Right? The men here, you guys here, you watching this right now, you a part of this call right now, you want to take full responsibility of your life. You want to be here among other men that are kicking ass in the world. And you want to know how to do that. You want to know how to do that, and you want to be inspired of how to do that. So I'm going to share this clip from Kevin James and the sound guy. And the actor in this clip, so what he does is he pulls up movies, and then he puts himself in the behind the scenes, if you will, of the movie as if he's the sound guy in the set. Okay? And he's with the actor Sir Daniel Michael Blake Day-Lewis. So Sir Daniel Day-Lewis, and I pulled this from Wikipedia. Daniel Day-Lewis is a retired English actor with dual citizenship. He's one of the most respected actors of his generation, and he's also been hailed as one of the greatest actors in cinematic history. So think about Kevin James with one of the greatest actors in cinematic history with this funny short from Kevin James, the sound guy.
Very excited to be working here with you today, Mr. Day-Lewis. It's awesome.
I've been a huge fan of yours since my left foot. You actually inspired me to paint because you're painting in the movie. I didn't paint as good as you, but you inspired me, you know? It's just such an honor to be working with you and Mr. Pete Anderson, Paul Thomason. Paul Thomason. So I'm very happy.
Would you like some?
I drink your water. I drink it up every day. I drink the blood of lamb from Bander's tract.
Adam, can you get somebody to go tell that guy to stop talking to Daniel?
Okay. Crikey. There you go.
You can sit down again.
Thank you.
You're right, Mr. PTA. This guy he's brilliant. He's a genius. So smart.
It was Paul. Told me about you. He's the prophet. He's the smart one.
No, I know his other work is amazing. You know, I haven't seen any of your other stuff, but my grandmother, she's a huge Boogie Night fan, and she just watches it all the time. It's like on a loop at our house. It's just my grandmother would be so proud. So I just want to say thank you both. Very moved to be here, very honored to work with you, Mr. Lewis.
Stop crying, you sniveling ass. Stop your nonsense. Where were you when Paul was suckling at his mother's teat? Where were you?
Good question.
I don't know how old you are. I'm probably 4 or 5 years older.
Drainage!
I don't know what you want from me there. I don't know.
Drainage!
You're drooling.
Lie, you
That's a drool.
boy.
It's drool.
Drain drop. I'm so sorry. If you have a milkshake, milkshake. And I have a straw. There it is. That's a straw, you see. Watching. And my straw reaches across the room and starts to drink your milkshake. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
With all due respect, Mr. DeLuce, it's malted.
Oh, come on. Can somebody get the sound guy off lane one?
So that was super obscure. One thing I want, so one thing I wanted to bring with that comedy, which was very tense, right, and very dramatic, and Kevin had no idea what Daniel was doing and what Daniel was saying. It didn't really make a lot of sense. And so one thing I wanted to bring into the show on this Monday morning was sometimes the shit doesn't make sense, and sometimes there's a hell of a lot of tension. And in the tension, there can be fun. In the tension, there can be drama. We don't have to know necessarily what's going on. So for those of you that were paying attention there, man, it was like Daniel Lewis, of course, with the sound guy. The sound guy is not supposed to know what the hell's going on. And that's why this is funny, right? The sound guy is just an average Joe, and Daniel is really kind of off his rocker in that scene. And that's maybe what we feel like as men sometimes when we try to be logical in the face of a woman's emotional storm. Okay, if she's got all kind of shit going on that you don't know what's up with that, and you're trying to be logical and you're trying to walk your way through the logic of what she's saying, and that's not always going to work. That's probably not going to work the majority of the time, gentlemen. And so on that note, I actually want to go over to a man, Rueben, who's a new regular on our show. He hit me up before the show this morning and said he wanted to share a situation that he's been going through with his wife. So yeah, Rueben, can you unmute yourself and come on, please?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, go for it, bud. Share with us what's up with you, man. What did you want to bring to the men? What's going on?
I just wanted to share. I've been listening to your audiobook, the intimacy staircase, and I've been implementing that. Now I should do a better job doing it as a scientist, but I've been just, doing nonverbal and verbal communication, and I've been doing it for like a week or two, and yesterday was the first time my wife actually stopped and looked at me and said, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And I did it. I looked at her, smiled, and chuckled, and then she like stormed off upstairs, whatever. But I then right after I went over to her because she asked a question, so that I went to answer her question. And I said, I was like, the reason why I'm staring at you is I'm just admiring how pretty you are. And then she turned to me and said, "That's disgusting." And I was like, I just stood there and I was like, really? And then she was just like, "I told you to stop. That makes me feel uncomfortable." And then she stormed off again. And then I said, "Well, you don't have to be childish about it." And then she said to me, You're being completely disrespectful." And then I just walked away and left it be. But normally in the past, I wouldn't have the balls to do something like that because I was just so scared for some reason or another. I developed like a fear of my wife.
Yeah.
And now I don't have the fear. I'm taking my balls back. And, I guess you would say, not to be crude, sometimes I might go a little overboard and slap them on the table. But I just wanted to say that, I don't do that all the time. But I just feel that's how I was in the beginning. I wouldn't take no for an answer. And eventually she came with me. And I think I just need to get back to who I was. I was in another group that I felt like I was wrong. There was something bad. And I had no way to interact with my wife. And I just felt like it kept snowballing. And then whenever she would make a response or get into it with me, I would just shut up or walk away or apologize.
Right.
And it just didn't sit well with me. So that's the way I'm doing it. It works for, I mean, at the end of the day, that's later on that day, she spent an hour preparing food for Father's Day for me, which I complimented her and appreciated and valued all of it because that made it so special for me. And I was able to express that to her. So not only do I do stuff like that, but I also express the value and appreciation I have for her. And that's the biggest difference from listening to you and being a part of, this group is I'm just letting my feelings get out there as opposed to holding them in. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share.
I love it. Thank you, Rueben. I want to ask you a question here in a second. I'm going to bounce it over to Cynthia. One thing, I was reading Steve Horstman's book this morning, The Straight Talk Tools for Husbands. And he says, men want both emotional and physical intimacy, right? Of course. The men here, we love women. We love relationship. This is not about pigeonholing them into all being, crazy and whatever else. And we want to learn how to be better in relationship ourselves. We want to learn how to lead. And so in his book, he says, there are two biggest reasons that men are unable to establish the connection, emotional and physical connection. Number one, failure to establish themselves as attractive and authentic men of value and principles. Okay, so we know what we're about in the world. We know what our values are. We know what our principles are. Rueben, you're a man that shares affection. You're a man that wants to be real with his wife. You're a man that wants to joke and be in the moment with his wife. That's who you are, right? And the second failure that men have is to develop the self-confidence and personal leadership skills necessary to guide their relationship toward intimacy. And so you were saying in that other group how you would try something or you'd be coy or you would tuck your tail or you'd walk away and you wouldn't be the man that you want to be. Okay. And so she got together with you in the first place because of the man you are, because of the fun, intimate man you are. So what do you think has thrown you off the tracks? Why, and in like maybe 30 seconds or 60 seconds here, why do you think, when your opinion, did she have that response to you? Like what did she say? That's disgusting for you saying how pretty she is. Yeah. Why do you think she's gotten there? What's happened?
Well, what I've learned from listening to this call with Cynthia is I think she's building her own container and wall. So she feels comfortable in that. I think she's built it over the years when I was ignoring her. And now, when I'm trying to, establish myself and be a leader again, she's already has this container built. So for her to, put down her wall and accept that, she has to have some kind of defense. And I believe it's calling it disgusting. I would never do that. You repulse me. So that's what I believe, that I'm trying to go from, she sees me as a person who is needy, but not a leader. And right now, moving forward, that's where I'm going to be a leader.
Got it. I love that. So Rueben, do you have one question that you want to ask Cynthia? You have a professional female coach here, an unbiased opinion who can help you with the very next one step. What would be one question that you'd have for Cynthia?
I guess the question I would have is, when my wife, she's in a stonewalling phase. If I share with her, sometimes she'll be open, but that's maybe 10% of the time. Most of the time she gives me one-word answer. She's very defensive. Is the way that I'm acting too strong? Am I coming out the gates like, too much? Like the comment I said before, balls on the table, and what should I, tone it back a little bit? I mean, I feel comfortable doing it, but I also don't want to steamroll it. So I just want to know how she's feeling compared to what I'm making her feel, because I know I'm causing all the stonewalling with my new behavior. So, she knows that behavior in the past would, get me to cower away, but it's not going to happen this time.
Yeah. Rueben, I just have to say, you have such powerful presence, and you have this incredible ability to stay compassionate in the face of, things that could like crumple some of us. And I really appreciate that in you, and your positive vision and momentum forward is incredible. I guess I have a counter question for you, if it's okay. How does I love what you said about your wife's creating her own container, and I totally agree with you about, she's using that to kind of, stonewall. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I've been in charge of this shit for a while. How does she feel about her physical presence, her prettiness, her how she shows up as a woman?
That's a great question. I think I sense that too. We're both in a position where we're working out, trying to get into better shape, and we kind of like go, I guess, with all the emotion. So in my opinion, I don't think that she feels 100% as pretty or as beautiful as she has in the past. So I know my wife is very particular about the way she looks, like most women are. Not to put a label on everyone, but she is, and I can tell that does bother her. So, that's a great question. I think she does have an issue with her own looks.
Thanks for your intuition on that. So I'll answer your question, and then I'll share a story of my own. I think you should be yourself and the power that you are, and exactly what Jeff said, the man that you were before you felt like you had to get smaller, while also in that superpower you have of compassion, knowing that when you say, I'm just taking in how beautiful, how pretty you are, she's feeling some shame and vulnerability because she doesn't feel that way exactly. And yet you're leading the path to her seeing herself in a more positive light. And that's your sword, which I can say, I have found partners to be very healing in helping me as a woman accept things that I thought were not good enough, pretty enough. And I'll even say, like, Jeff as like this grounded, incredible man who owns himself completely. And he actually, when we were writing the Staircase of Intimacy book, there was a moment where I was getting out of the shower and I honestly was not feeling really great about my, physical being at that moment. And I was feeling kind of run down and stressed and not in feminine flow. And he practiced seeing me and taking me in. And I had my own stonewalling thing because I felt vulnerable and I was like, I can't take this in right now. And so, it's a practice of breathing in a man's reverence that I truly appreciate you sharing with your wife. I truly appreciate Jeff sharing with me. It is an enormous gift when you hold solid in that.
Well, thank you, Cynthia. Rueben, I want to add real quick, and I muted you just so if when you're ready to talk again, you can unmute yourself. So Cynthia, I wanted to add, when you got out of the shower and I was honoring you and revering you basically, and I saw you weren't accepting it, I just basically allowed that and walked out of the room at that point, right? So Rueben, I want to point out something, bud, that you can't jab her back if she doesn't accept what you're saying. Okay, so I didn't get on Cynthia like, oh, you're blah, blah. I didn't say anything. I just gave her my presence and she wasn't willing to accept it in that moment and I walked away. Now, if this was a chronic thing or something like that, like you're maybe facing, that would be something that I would bring up with her at a different time. Okay, but no fair, like, well, you didn't have to be, what did you say? It's like you don't have to be immature about it or something like that?
I called her childish.
Childish, yeah. You didn't have to be childish about it. So, hey, no fair jabbing her back, right? This is the man that you want to be, and when it doesn't get accepted, that's, you'd rather it be accepted, of course, but no fair, like shaming the person or, right, and demeaning her after that, because that's just going to be, that's not the man you want to be, right, Rueben? Yeah, you're nodding your head. Good.
No, yes. Yeah, I guess my follow-up question is, obviously these things upset her. So do I continue to do that, but sporadically? Like I have to understand where she is. Like, I continue to do the nonverbal, and that's fine. But should I, tone it back a little bit, or just continue on the way I want to? Like, I should understand that it does bother her now, so I gotta find different ways. Like that's my question moving forward.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm going to share a screen right now. I pulled some quotes from Steve Horstman's book, The Straight Talk Tools. I'm going to talk about that exactly right now. So the short answer is, you don't just keep blasting away with something that she's given you direct feedback, like don't do that, or that makes me uncomfortable. You don't just blast away, but you also don't just give up and do nothing. Okay, so let me give you the longer answer. And I share this from his book, and I'll talk. So this is, I think this is in the introduction. I don't recall exactly. It's toward the beginning of the book. Here's the picture of his book. And he opens this section with, a natural result of a man who chooses to behave differently is increased attractiveness. So differently meaning you're trying something new, okay? And the ultimate result is attractiveness. But down here, for the second bullet point, okay, he says, this man tells her he wants to understand her feelings, and he treats the conflict as important and valid, and he says this out loud, and he means it. He does not minimize her feelings or her point of view. So, Rueben, what I would say is a different time, okay? Don't stack. We talk about that on this show. You don't want to stack two different energies together in the same exact conversation, okay, right? So a different time, I would go to her and I'd say, hey, there's something important I've been thinking about. Yesterday, when I said I was just appreciating you and looking at you because of how beautiful you are, it seemed like it really bothered you. You said, like, that's disgusting and it really bothers you. I'd like for you to tell me more of what's underneath that. What's underneath that for you? Please share that with me. It's important to me. I really want to know. Okay. Rueben, have you tried anything like that with her before? Have you tried going to her and asking her about that and asking her to share with you?
I've tried it in different for something else. More like other times when she's kind of like scolded me. Like, she's a teacher, so like if I don't know certain information, so I didn't respond. Then at a later point, I came back and I asked her to come into another room, and then I addressed it with her. I think we saw this in the program like last week. So I've done that, but not in this case. Something like about her, or something that she said to me directly. So I kind of started pulling my balls back by not allowing her to just say whatever she wants to me, and then I never say anything.
Got you. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So to answer your question, a separate time, probably in the next couple of days, I have a rule I share with my one-on-one coaching clients. I call it the 24/7 rule. And that doesn't mean do it all the time. That means wait 24 hours, but bring it up before 7 days. So between 24 hours and 7 days later is like the window of when I suggest you bring it up. Okay. So not right away. You probably do want to sleep on it for both of your sake. You don't want to stack, but you don't want to wait longer than a week. Okay. So you might bring it up now. She might throw some stuff that's really harsh at you. Like, I've told you I don't want any sex with you ever again. I don't know what your situation is, Rueben, but I'll just exaggerate, right? I don't you ever want.
No, that's on the money. You're right on the money. She said all this already. But I was just a coward and never said anything back.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad that you've got our free audiobook, The Staircase of Intimacy, right? You're starting on step 0 or step 1 here. So she might say, I've told you I don't want any contact at all. I don't look at you sexually that way, nothing. Okay. So what you're going to say is, I realize that I'm a man that shows affection and I share humor as well. So this is something that I'm going to continue to try, but I want to honor you as well. Okay. It's something I'm going to do in our relationship, but I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. So let's talk about some other ways that I can do that, right? If I just catch a glance at you for 3 seconds and then, so it depends on how much of a humorous mood she's in. You could make jokes. Like Cynthia this morning, I had an alarm go off because I I have $5,000 in the stock market. I'm just messing around. And so my alarm was to go off to look at oil futures today because I'm kind of selling as the oil futures come up. And so I had, it's an alarm for me to check the oil futures. And she's like, I thought it was an alarm for you to strip and dance, like do a sexy dance for me. I said, you're right. It's both of those things. And I started to like pull my shirt up while I'm looking at so I just started dancing and making a fool of myself. Like, yeah, you're right. Now, obviously, Cynthia and I are at a different spot, Rueben, right? But the point is, I just went with it in the moment. And she may not like it. And so that's when, if it's really offended her, you can go back the next day or within the next week and say, hey, it seemed like that really offended you. I want to know what's underneath that, please. Okay, I don't want any of this. I don't want you to come on to me at all. It's like, I understand that. Okay, I'm a man that wants to share affection. I'm a man that wants to be humorous and have connection and relationship. So I am going to try some things. So let's talk about what would be cool to try. Right? So give me, I have some ideas. Do you have a couple ideas? Like, hey, if we held hands when we walked down the sidewalk, or if I tickled you when you weren't expecting it, or, I don't know what your woman's like, Rueben, right? So what do you think she would say? Because we can make this hard. And then I want Cynthia to come in again. So she might say, fuck you, never touch me. I don't want anything. Like, what do you think that she's going to say if you're like, hey, I'm a man that wants to have fun and connection. So I do want to try some things, but I want you to be cool with it. So I have some ideas, but what are your little ideas that we could do? What do you think she would say, Rueben?
Oh, I could tell you right now. She'll say, that's great, whatever you want. But like I told you before, we're done. Focus on the kids. You don't have to try anything else.
Cool. Okay. I mean, so what I would say is cool, and then be done, because I'm not trying to talk her into anything. Basically, if she would say that, she just gave me permission. She just gave me permission to try stuff. So to your question though, maybe so the looking at her and smiling and not saying anything is a back off from, she asked you, what are you looking at? Right. So maybe so I'm goofy, man. You seems like you're goofy too. So what I might do is I might look at her and I might wave like something just silly, like, hi, she's like, oh, Jesus, he's looking at me again. And then I'd probably do it, the next day for 5 seconds. And then I might just smile and not wave the second time. And she's like, oh God, he's looking at me again. Right. So this is the man that you are. But if it tortures her for you to even look at her, so the next weekend you bring this up, hey, you said fuck off on Tuesday when I looked at you for 5 seconds. Let's talk about that. What's underneath that for you? Yeah, blah. Right. So Rueben, you have to try to, and I'd love for Cynthia to jump in here. You do have to try half steps forward. And if it doesn't succeed, that's okay. You're not doing it to try to win brownie points. You're doing it because that's the man that you are. Right. And if she keeps blasting you, I'd love to have some feedback from Cynthia. If she keeps blasting you, then that becomes the conversation. Okay, the blasting you becomes your question. Hey, it seems like, you get really angry about that. What's underneath that for you? Okay, Rueben, so that's the one next step. Obviously, we could keep going, but Cynthia, please give us some feedback on what I said. So if Ruben's wife has said, focus on the kids, I want nothing to do with you, right? And this is the kind of man that Rueben is. From your feminine perspective, if you put yourself in maybe Ruben's wife's shoes, okay, what would you suggest as a professional that Rueben continue to do in this, as far as the staircase of intimacy, like our audiobook?
Well, I have noticed Rueben, his whole, your personality, your love just emotes through your smile. And there's this wonderful thing that happens in our beings and ourselves when we're around other people is we have things called mirror neurons, and we can actually affect how someone else is feeling just by how we are processing emotion in ourselves. And a smile is an incredible, incredible way to do that. So I would say the reverence with just sharing a smile. And I love what you said about the joking a little bit, Jeff. And this is like a tender topic when like a wife has said, like, I want nothing to do with you. I don't want any of that energy. And if I could pull back the curtain and say that every woman has a hunger in her to be seen and to be taken in all ways, in all kinds of relationships. I feel like right now the negative pushback and even the like, I want nothing to do with this, is more of a reflection on how she's feeling about herself more than anything. So the invitation that she can be smiling through you, learn to be smiling in herself and opening her energy wherever that leads is makes me really excited for there to be momentum forward.
Yeah, thank you. So one thing I just want to say again, I would probably just try to be having fun. Yeah, go ahead, Rueben.
I said thank you. No, keep going, Jeff. This is amazing. I can't wait to take notes later.
Cool. Thanks, Rueben. I'm going to press pause on you, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I would probably just be trying to have fun, like no smiling. Make sure there's no smiling. Oh, you're no smiling. And there's got to be some fun. Look at, you're a fun dude. You're a fun dude. So don't give up. Try little half steps, right? If she feels really offended, wait a day or 2 or 3 and ask her about what's underneath that. Those are the first steps. And like you said, in the past, you've ignored her. In the past, you ignored her emotions. So she's probably just like, fuck off, dude. Like, you don't care about me from the way things have happened in the past. And so, like, you're a fun guy, man. You've got some repair to do, and that's okay.
Jeff, I just want you to know, we have a lot of similarities because I had that Mr. Nice Guy, right? And then when it didn't work out the way I wanted to, I also have like a bad side, like the angry side.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I understand where she's coming from, but I want to put that on the way and not leave stress.
Yeah, I'm going to press pause on you, bud. Your signal's kind of getting rough here. But yeah, I agree. So it's like the fun side and the angry side. Right. So it's this big emotional range that's fun when it's fun, but then when I'm mad, I took it out on other people and that wasn't okay. Right. And I've learned how to control that now. Right. I've learned that that's my own responsibility. So the opening comedy, which wasn't like with Kevin, there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of tension. Okay. And when there was tension, I didn't handle it very well in the past. Right. I'd basically wear it on my sleeve or wear it on my face or take it out on someone else or try to correct them or make them wrong in some way. Like now as a man, as a fucking grown ass man, that tension is my responsibility. Okay. My escalation is my responsibility, not theirs. And a woman is going to feel, so if you just wear it in your face, she feels it like you're saying it. So I would suggest like getting out of the room if you're feeling pissed, right? Like get out and go process it, go to the bathroom, splash water in your face. And when you come back, it's holding that high regard. Because she wants to feel magic in the relationship. She wants to feel love. Like if you have fuck you written on your forehead, you might as well be saying it. Okay. So go to the bathroom, rinse that off, come back out and have like playful or I'm going to keep trying. I love you, on your forehead, if you will. And she may push back and she'll continue to do that until she realizes he's not going to stop and he's stopped taking this out on me too. Right? You can't take it out on her any longer. So Cynthia, I want to jump over to your piece of the pie. Here's our pie picture with the 3 different kinds of pie I've been showing. And you're going to move into the number 6 piece of pie, piece of a woman's pie that she wants in relationship. Okay, there are 7 pieces that you'll unveil. So tomorrow we'll go into number 7. And so please talk with us about number 6 here, the magic that she wants to feel in relationship. So please talk with us about pie piece number 6, what she wants to feel magic in the relationship, please.
Well, Scott was looking for apple pie, so maybe this is the apple pie slice.
Oh, nice.
That's magic.
Nice.
This is the sense that when a woman feels with you, that a relationship is it's not stagnant. It is ever, always expanding outward. There's always moving into deeper places of understanding, of compassion, and that you see that expansion, that depth, that this ever transforming process as we're learning, we're growing together. And this is a mystery. This is an adventure to unfold with you. No matter what has happened in the past, no matter what's going on in the present, it lights her up. It lifts off of her the weight that she's been carrying. And this is this incredible gift you have of being like the visionary in your relationship. And even this weekend, I will share with you that it felt like I had kind of gotten bogged down this last week and just tasks and to-doing and lack of compartmentalization was pretty worn out. And, Jeff, sitting with you outside and just spending time where we were talking about vision and relationship and business and this ever expanding off the radar, what could this look like? Curiosity, deepening of understanding. It gave me the feeling like I had just taken a 5-hour nap, and was, about to jump into a 2-week-long vacation. It was freedom and possibility. And that to me felt utterly magical. And it made me feel like I got to be in the magic of myself again versus the to do, accomplish.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna zoom in here into the column of magic, and you've put that she wants to feel connected to something bigger and full of life. This is what she's wanting in the relationship. And you said that where she'll say things like, "I feel lit up and held up and deeply connected," and this is that visionary energy. And things that the man can say, as you've typed here, "I look forward to how our relationship always grows deeper. I love experiencing magic with you." And then speaking about the future, in 10 years from now and 50 years from now, we're going to be gray and old and in our rocking chair, smiling, looking out the window, looking at these beautiful trees. And just imagine how much bigger those trees are going to be. Just imagine the next chapter of our life, the next story of our life, the next volume of our life together. Right? That's the magic that you're talking about. Yeah, Cynthia?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to preview my sandwich, the 3-sentence sandwich of what you say. And I'll type this out for tomorrow and bring it up tomorrow. So when you're speaking to a woman about the future, I inferred this last week. When you're speaking to a woman about the future and you're not sure what to say, there's 3 sentences. Okay. The first one is the positivity in your life. So your family, your career. So I love what's going on and that I'm focusing on our children and I'm focusing on the world and being positive in the world. Okay. The second thing is with her, and I want to move forward into the world with you, and I look forward to our next chapter of life together with you, almost regardless of where you are with her. Okay. Unless the divorce papers have been signed and you're never talking again, there's always the potential for the next chapter. Okay. So whatever's appropriate for you with her is the second piece, the meat of the sandwich. And then the third piece is you personally as a man. And regardless, I'm going to kick ass in the world. I'm going to be on my adventure, and I'm excited for the next chapter of my own life. Okay. So it's what's going on in your whole life, your family, your career, everything around you. The second piece is with her. You want this vision with her. Okay. And the third piece is your own self, your vision in the world of your own self. And these are all one sentence. So that's the 3-sentence sandwich where she's the meat in the middle. It's my whole life, her, and myself. That's the 3-sentence sandwich. Those are all positive things. There's nothing in there that says, I don't want this. These are all positive, and they're 1 sentence each. Okay, that's what I'm starting to call the hero sandwich. The 3-sentence hero sandwich is your life with her and your own self, all positive, just 1 sentence at a time. So Cynthia, give me some feedback on just the magic of me saying that, the 3-sentence hero sandwich, and how it's positive about life, positive about the next chapter with her, whatever that is for appropriate for you. And then the positivity you're taking into the world and going to be phenomenal as a man regardless. How does that hit you as a woman, please?
Well, it's like a freeing feeling. I feel relaxed and, even if you were to offer such a gift to someone and they, did stonewall you in the moment or have something harsh to say back, again, the modeling you as a man are having about mindset of yourself, mindset with her vision, and mindset for the future, for the world. God, that's just like, it unlocks in my brain all the like tension, what if, negatives, worries, concerns. And because you're showing an abundance and a trust and a gratitude that can't be ignored, even in the moment, can't be ignored in the long term when you're providing that kind of energy.
Oh, thank you for that feedback. Yeah, it can't be ignored. So one more quote from Straight Talk Tools today from Steve Forsman. Be clear on where you stand. You don't have to pretend to agree with her if you don't. However, without defensiveness or judgment, you state clearly and without apology the man you are. You're authentic and speak from a place of love and respect. And you want her to feel this energy and to know that it is true. You want her to know that it is true, what you're saying. So you're not faking it. You're not pretending. You're not lying. This is the work as a man. You have to know who you are, your integrity, your nuts, your values, okay? And then you speak those clearly in 1 or 2 or 3 sentences at a time. Right? When it's appropriate. Yeah. You don't run to her. Oh, look, mommy, I wrote my 3 sentences. It's not about that. It's when you have a deep conversation with her, or you ask her like Rueben, hey, what's underneath that for you? And she says, I just don't know who you are anymore. I don't want this from you. And you own in yourself, I'm a man that wants fun and to have a connection with my wife. Right? I'd love to take the next step with you, but regardless, I'm going to be a fun, amazing man in the world and kick ass in the world and be on my mission. Then you shut up. Then you shut up and allow the tension to just sit. Allow her to feel that and know that it is true. Okay. So I'm going to share a 2-minute clip from John Wineland right now. He is a student of David Data, and John Wineland was the teacher of G.S. Youngblood, who wrote The Masculine in Relationship. Those are authors and books we talk about a lot on this show. So I'm going to share a clip right now from John Wineland entitled, Light Them Up Like This Is the Last Moment on Earth.
You're going to be faced with a choice. Both of you are going to be faced with a choice. This is normally how it plays out. I've seen this now. Right? The men will feel overwhelmed and exhausted, and then we're asking them to love, because that's just how the masculine generally navigates life. Mm-hmm. Like so much to do and not enough nourishment, and then she wants more, right? So they'll have to decide to give love unconditionally, however you're responding, right? You will maybe get the sense that it's not safe or it's not the right kind of masculine presence for you, and you'll be left with the question of, can I give or do I give unconditional love in this moment? And that's, of course, a personal question that all of you have to answer for yourself. Right? But I would argue that the deepest experiences, some of the deepest experiences that I've had in practice occurred with somebody I would have never chosen physically or even energetically. But my capacity to give unconditional love to them, to light them up like this was the last moment on earth, right? And give that way, opened something in me that I didn't even know I could do, right? A capacity to love that I didn't think was possible for me, because I was heartbroken. I had a daughter who was sick, and I was exhausted, and I was, like, I was just fucking heartbroken and stressed. I couldn't give any more love, right? But then I could. I was like, wow, I could. That actually felt really good. And then she got really radiant, and then everything felt better, right? You guys are going to be making that choice every practice, probably every practice you step into, especially if you're here with your partner. You're like, oh, I'm still pissed about 2 weeks ago. Like, he doesn't get my sweet sorceress energy. Not today, motherfucker.
Not today. Not today, motherfucker. So even if she says not today, Ruben, you're still going to give that love in an appropriate way, right? Not overboard. You're still going to give that love because that's the kind of man that you are. Even if you feel empty, and I believe as us as men, we want to serve. We want to serve the world. We want to move out into the world and have purpose. And if our purpose is the act that we give that comes from within us, and it's not attached to her outcome, it's not attached to the outcome, right? It's the act of giving. Okay, so we're self-sourcing approval and affirmation in ourselves, and we're giving approval and affirmation with a detached outcome. Okay, that's the act of giving affirmation and approval. That helps to fill us up. As long as we're not needy about it, if we're expecting something in return, oh, you look so beautiful. Tell me I'm a good boy. Do I win brownie points now? Okay, that's not serving. That's actually trying to get something, right? That's the little boy. That's the nice guy. That's the needy guy. So no fair being needy, okay? Self-source and have a dependence from outcome. I want to share one more clip from Tony Robbins. Tony's talking about how to have a phenomenal life. I put in the chat, guys, by the way, the clip from John Wineland right there. That's one of the benefits of being on our show live is you get the clips right away immediately. And I want to honor our men that are on the show today. Cynthia, if you could please unmute yourself and honor the men that are on the show today. I love you guys so much. And I see a ton of you also post in our private Facebook forum. And I want to queue up Tony Robbins here in 1 second. So Cynthia, if you could honor our men, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't think Dan is on anymore, but Dan was here and he mentioned when you and Ruben were talking, like good advice. He's been there, and there it is. When you change screens, sometimes it takes away the screen I was looking at. Ian is here. Jason is here. Joseph, thank you. Pat came on. Brett. Andy posted some really great questions about humor and when is too much and when is just the right amount. The other Andy's here. And Patrick, Randy came on. Thank you. Ruben, thank you so much for what you've been sharing. Rob's here and Scott is here. Scott mentioned that when he first jumped on, he had his chastity belt on today. So,
that's good.
Yes.
So those of you that don't know Scott, that's a good thing. Like he wants to have his chastity belt on. Good for you, Scott. Fucking A, man. Good for you. Good for you. Good. So I'm going to share this. This is like a 90 seconds, a minute and a half clip from Tony Robbins. He talks so fast that I actually took some notes for us. I'll put in the chat. They're here. His 1, 2, 3, 4. He talks about in the clip. This is him on Marie Forleo. What it takes to have an extraordinary life.
Quicker, how do you do it? One, obsess about what you want, right? Focus on it continuously. Have so much emotion about it that you take massive action. Keep changing your approach. Model somebody really great. And then with some grace, take some grace too.
Yep.
Some call it luck. Some call it God. If you do the first 3 steps, that 4th step usually kicks you over. But the more important lesson, and the one that I'm obsessed by getting into people's minds, I really appreciate me planting the seed with everybody. The one that'll change your life more is the art of fulfillment. And I say the art of fulfillment because what will turn you on, excite you, fulfill you is going to be different than this man here who I know is your friend behind the camera and this beautiful lady here. It doesn't matter how close we all still are fulfilled by slightly different things. And so, what I really want is I believe that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I really want people to be fulfilled even more so because billionaires, that sounds ridiculous, but they're a dime a dozen. That's an exaggeration, meaning lots of people become billionaires. What's a hell of a lot more rare is someone who loves life every single day and stays happy when it doesn't go their way. Yeah. There's nothing worse than an angry rich man or an angry rich woman. You want to slap them. It's like they have every benefit in life, but that's what the human mind does. The human brain is 2 million years old, and this is not designed to make you happy. It's designed to make you survive. And survival, it does it by fear. So what the brain does is looks for, what do I need to fight or flight from? And so it's always looking for what's wrong. And our minds can take us over unless your heart is what's running you. So I'm
going to pause there. Tony talks a mile a minute. So let me share I took some notes on what he was saying. So first of all, our mind is driven for us to survive. So if we're not conscious, we move into fear and scarcity and defensiveness and accusations and shield. Okay, that's just to survive. That's it. But in today's modern society, that's not good enough for us. Like that's not going to keep us fulfilled in relationship and have the magic, like Cynthia was saying, her piece of pie, or the magical piece of pie in a relationship. So let me share real fast some of Tony's notes, and I know we're running out of time for today. Tony talked about the 4 things to have an extraordinary life are obsessively focus on what you want. So go after what you want in a way where, guess what? You're probably not watching Netflix very much if you're obsessively focused on something, right? Maybe watch some Netflix after you read that book, or you listen to the audio book, or you go for that run, or you do that workout, or you hug your kids and you kiss your wife, right? You've got other things going on. Number 2 is so much emotion in what you're doing that you take massive action. And that means you have a morning routine. You do the kingly routine in the morning. You know what your day is about. Model someone great, and then have luck or grace or the force of God in your life. And I believe that luck is a real thing. To me, it's, preparation meets opportunity, and also courage. So if I'm preparing and an opportunity comes up, I have to have the courage to step into that. And that's what you guys have done today and every day on the show, is have the courage to come on and prepare yourself for those opportunities with either your current woman or the next woman in your life, or even your own self. How do I be my own hero? And that's what we're showing on this show. That's what, I'm leading in my life, Cynthia's leading in her life, and we bring these things from our professional point of view and our learning every single day on this show. But Cynthia, would you help me please wrap up our show? And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain again.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your stories and your continual steps down this journey. It is a courageous, courageous life. And I am thrilled to be inspired by you all and thrilled to be in this space. Thank you for having me, and thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cynthia. This has been the C Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. The free program we talked about today is our audiobook. So go to greatmenmovemountains.com/free audiobook and punch in your information, and you get instant access to that. No strings attached, no BS. That's our heart. We believe in heart and business, and this is our heart. This show is our heart. Our free stuff on the website is our heart. We're happy to see you guys here and on our private forum, greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook, and punch in your info to be in our private Facebook group. We have to personally invite you in, just like every man that's on there. Fantastic, guys. I'll share this 2-minute kick-ass motivation compilation right now.
We've all got 2 wolves in us, a good one and a bad one, and they both want to eat. The best I can tell, we just got to feed that good one a little more than the other one. Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. You see, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say, if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently, and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though, joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do, no matter the outcome. Now, personally, as an actor, I started enjoying my work and literally being more happy when I stopped trying to make the daily labor a means to a certain end. For example, I need this film to be a box office success. I need my performance to be acknowledged. I need the respect of my peers. All those are reasonable aspirations, but the truth is, as soon as the work, the daily making of the movie, the doing of the deed became the reward in itself for me, I got more box office, more accolades and respect than I ever had before. See, joy is always in process. It's under construction. It is in constant approach, alive and well in the doing of what we're fashioned to do and enjoying it. The easiest way to dissect
in the doing. The joy is in the doing. The joy is in the journey, in the magic of life, and being here with other men and sharing our shit with other guys just like this every day. Love you guys so much. See you tomorrow. Ciao.
you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares and it's lovely.